I've been with my fiancé Joe for a couple of years now. We have a great relationship, he's funny and talented and we have a lot of fun together, but there's always been one big issue. Natalie. Joe and Nat are really close friends. It borders on unhealthy codependency for sure. When we met they were living together too. But she was out of the country so I didn't meet her until we'd been together a couple months. They also work together, artists/musicians. When we started dating, Joe gave me a disclaimer about them and their close relationship, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. Once I met her I understood it. She's the prettiest person I've ever seen in my life. I heard a lot about her but no one told me she looked like a fucking supermodel. It was jarring too because Joe is just average. They started writing music again together and performing, which meant a lot of time alone. I also was under the impression that their band involved multiple people. But it's just the two of them. Natalie always invited me for practice and whatnot, but TBH being around them made me feel like a third wheel. Then I saw them perform and for some reason they decided to cover this song, which felt like a slap in the face to me. Especially given the context of the movie. It's not even their genre. And I was extra upset because there's that line, "You can always come in my back door," and we have issues because I don't like anal. And she even bent over and gave a lil wink and it made me so fucking mad. Joe laughed it off and said the song was funny and gets a good crowd response. And also they're affectionate. I mean, they're not kissing each other but always close. Well anyway, she ended up traveling a lot for a long period of time for some good career opportunity. I had to talk Joe out of joining her and things got a lot better with us. We even got engaged and it was great. Then for Christmas we went to his home country so I could meet his family and things went sideways as fuck. First off, Nat was in every family photo. Going back years. Then his mom was asking about Nat and later saying she was going to be out to visit next week. Joe had a bit too much to drink at this point and got emotional about that, saying he wished he would have known because he would have changed our plans. I pulled him aside and told him I wasn't comfortable with how intertwined she was with his family, especially if we were going to get married. I asked if something could be done about that, and he laughed in my face and told me that I could be the one to try to bring that up with his mom. So, I did. And his mom looked at me like I slapped her, and then the whole family got upset. Joe got really mad at me and we left. Apparently she was a foreign exchange student or SMTH and they were immediately best friends. They were weird kids and didn't have other friends before each other. Every year they alternated staying with their families, between Ireland and Germany. I never knew about this, but there were things, like we were watching a movie once and a character was speaking German and Joe was able to translate. When I asked him WTF he speaks German. He gave me a weird look and was like, yeah, that's where Nat is from. Then when they were teenagers and the two were in Ireland, Nat's family was killed back in her country and so she stayed there with his family until they moved out together. And they've basically been side by side since for 15 plus years. They lived together and went to school together, and then lived together and worked together, since they were like 12. Apparently there was one school year their parents decided not to put them together and they both reacted so hostile and began acting out with crime and drugs that their parents gave in. I didn't know this and started to wonder what else. Asked if they slept together. And yes, they sure did. About 6 years ago for like a year. Then one night Nat kissed a guy and Joe beat the shit out of him. They got in fight and decided sex was complicating things and then just stopped. But then they also hooked up a few times since. I freaked out. After all the "she's like my sister" bullshit. Joe insisted it didn't mean anything but WTF. He kept saying it was purely physical and there were no feelings. But if there weren't feelings, how did things get complicated then? Well, regardless, we managed to talk it out but didn't go back to his parents. He argued that they were barely even friends anymore since he hasn't seen her in so long. And I did such a good job tearing them apart. I told him he asked me to marry him and should act like it. We fought for like 3 days until he got sick of it. Last week he gets a call from her. I hear him get upset and argue, then he starts to leave. I ask him WTF. He just said Natalie's in trouble and he need to go to her and leaves. Just hopped on a plane and left. Just like that. If I wouldn't have asked he probably wouldn't have even said a word to me. So naturally I was pissed. And I started drinking and sent some angry messages. And I basically told him that if he was going to leave like that and run to her, he made it clear he was choosing her over me, and he shouldn't bother coming home. His response was just okay and that he would come back soon to get his stuff, which really pissed me off. Well, yesterday I talked to our mutual friend Chloe, who told me that Natalie was in a bad situation and called Joe from the hospital. I felt kinda bad then and wondered why Joe didn't tell me the details, so I called him. It wasn't a good conversation. I told him I understood why he left, but since she's okay now, he should come home. He disagreed, and fucking flipped out on me. Said that if I didn't keep them apart and put distance between them, she might have opened up to him about the shit she was dealing with and he could have helped. He called me manipulative and jealous. I do feel bad, but I still think I didn't do anything that bad. Chloe told me she'd be surprised if Joe wants to work things out. I love him, but this situation is so weird. I just want some advice. Is our relationship salvageable? Is what I did that bad? Should we even bother, or should I just let him and Natalie do their weird not a real couple bullshit? Edit. I just found out she tried to be with him and he rejected her. And he didn't want to ruin their friendship? I'm so fucking confused. Update 1. I'm worried that our relationship will be broken by my BF's close female friend. Hi everyone. It's me, the one from yesterday's post about my now ex-fiancé. I just want to first say that I really appreciate everyone's input and suggestions. It helped me so much and gave me that push to finally address what I already knew what needed to be done. A lot of people asked for updates and a lot has happened in the last 24 hours, but the original post is locked, so I hope this is okay to post here. I've updated a few people through private messages and was told how to go about posting an update through there, so thank you everyone. Well, first off, I was angry and emotional yesterday and I reached out to Sam, who used to date Natalie. I figured if anyone could relate to exactly WTF I was dealing with, it would be him. So we met up for some drinks. I'm not looking for a rebound type anything, just wanted someone who really understands. And holy shit, apparently he asked way more questions and Natalie was way more open with him than Joe was with me, and it filled in some blanks but also made things more confusing. Sam read the whole post and comments, then we started talking. First thing he clarified was the time they were sleeping together. So, per Sam, they were hooking up secretly for that year. And from what Natalie told Sam, God, this is tiring. It started as a way to relieve tension/boredom. The first time happened during a fight, which is so on brand for them that if I wasn't so angry I'd laugh at that. They agreed to keep emotions out of it and just have fun. Apparently Natalie said the sex was incredible because they're so close already, which is why they didn't just write it off as a one-time mistake. And then the reason the fight that ended things happened is Natalie was going to bring this other guy as her date with her to the party and she made a joke like, unless you want to finally make this official, lol, and Joe's response was like, no, I can't ruin our friendship like that, paraphrasing. Maybe, huh? So Natalie went and brought that guy with, and then Joe got drunk and tried to kill him, so. Yeah. I don't know why Joe chose to leave out the details that he did. TBH, it probably would have made me feel a little more comfortable. So he left out those details. But Natalie told Sam those details. And admitted to Sam when they broke up that no one will ever mean more to her than Joe. I fucking applaud Sam for not blowing that up and letting everyone know. I'm not that nice. You guys will be proud of me. After a few drinks with Sam, I took the advice that a lot of people gave me. But instead of just sending my last post to Joe, I sent it to our entire group chat that all of our friends are on, including Joe and Natalie, and then I waited. Most people didn't respond in the chat, but I started getting a lot of private texts from friends. But after a little while, Natalie responded, and I'll just copy her response here. Emma, I was going to talk to you privately, but since you decided doing things this way was your best option, I will follow suit. 1. Joe is just average. This is how you talk about a man you are supposed to love? Especially considering he is not just average? 2. I had to talk Joe out of joining her, and it meant he missed out on a great opportunity just to appease you and your concerns. I even tried to invite you to come with us on the tour. You also mention him getting a real job and are rude about his talent. You have never supported him. 3. Yeah, you came to one of our performances the whole time and hated that song, and we stopped playing it even though you never came to another one. 4. I am sorry you didn't know the details of our friendship. I have tried to include you and befriend you and build a relationship with you, but you were too jealous to accept my effort. But maybe we could have talked about things and made you feel comfortable. You didn't even like to hear him talk about me. You also made the implication I did something drastic to get his attention to make him come out here, and that is cruel considering circumstances. I wish I would have been around more so I would have realized sooner that he deserves so much better than you. I was honestly shocked to get that response, and I was wondering why the hell she didn't address the important stuff. Like being in love, or the fact they've had sex. But anyway, chaos kind of broke out in the chat after that, and I didn't respond with anything. Just sat back and watched it all blow up. Well, Joe called me a little while after that, and assured me he was alone. He was crying and apologizing to me, but not like begging for me back at all. He basically confirmed what I thought and everyone else was saying. He was apologizing for hurting me and straight up admitted he's totally in love with her and has been forever. They were even each other's first kiss. I told him I know she wanted a relationship with him. Sam told me, so WTF was he doing with me? He said he didn't realize the extent of her feelings for him. Thought it was just because the sex was good. He didn't want to admit he was madly in love with her, and basically he was worried that if they tried a relationship, and things ended badly because she realized she could do better, their friendship would be ruined. He said their friendship was important enough to him that he'd prefer being quietly in love with her forever to trying something and ruining it. And that's kinda where I came in, I guess. He says he was in major denial about his feelings for her and he hoped it would be easier to have her as just a friend if he tried to put his energy into a different relationship. I cried and yelled a lot and called him a lot of names. I'm still shaking. He admitted it was a horrible thing to do to me and says he never wanted to hurt me. Basically he's insecure, and it caused this whole fucking shitstorm. Obviously things are completely done. From what it sounds like, with Joe saying he didn't realize the extent of her feelings, it sure sounds like he does now. So maybe seeing this post made her fess up. Good for them, I guess. I fucking hate both of them and I hope they make each other insane. I've thrown out a lot of his shit and instead of giving the ring back I'm gonna go sell it and do something fun. Edit. A lot of people are calling them cheaters, but I would like to clear up that I'm 99.9% sure neither of them cheated on anyone, aside from their constant emotional affair. Some of my wording might be confusing and I apologize. I've calmed down a bit and I'm pretty worried about Natalie TBH. I feel like they're going to be together and he's going to be all crazy and controlling and things are going to get really messy. The emotions with these two are way too dramatic. She's so love-struck and blinded by his admission of his feelings that she's going to defend him to the end. Poor girl. Update 2. My ex-fiancé had a long emotional affair that started before we met. Hi there Reddit, I previously came to this site for advice when I discovered uncomfortable truths about my ex, and we broke up about a week ago. If anyone is curious, feel free to look at my post history, but it's a lot to read. Basically, his gorgeous best friend / adopted sister / bandmate and him are madly in love. I ignored the signs and red flags that popped up constantly, until I couldn't anymore, and he finally admitted his feelings for her after keeping them repressed since they were teenagers. I'm not sure what I'm posting for now. I'm a little drunk and really sad and angry, and most of my friend group were friends with him first. And after the initial drama, most of those friends have already switched to thinking it's about time they're finally together. My family isn't too supportive, not in a bad way, that's just the nature of my family. We get uncomfortable talking about emotional things, which is probably why I willfully ignored the issues with my fiancé tbh. I'm at a loss. He hasn't even picked up his stuff yet. I've been drinking and crying and obsessing over every detail of this whole screwed up situation. I feel like an idiot. Why did I stay for so long when he always put her before me? Why didn't I see what everyone else apparently did? He was just with me because he thought it would help him move past his feelings for her. I feel so used and unloved. I do have plans to get into therapy, for multiple reasons. What do I do? I know it's only been a few days. But when does this start to not hurt so badly? I loved him so much. Even when he flew out to her and abandoned me because she needed him. When I got upset and we fought, I still thought, how do I fix this? I'd be lying if I said I hadn't considered calling him. But it wouldn't do any good. Now that he has her, he'll never let her go. Not even that I want him back. I just don't know. I've never gone through this. There's an actual aching in my chest. And I know that drinking is bad. I'd come so fudging hurt. Update 3. Hope you're happy after ruining my life. All that for nothing. My life is in shambles and they're going off to elope. I didn't even do anything fucking wrong. I was devastated after my fiancé left and missed some work, and then I lost my job. My friends have abandoned me. I'm about to move back home. I moved out here for nothing. I moved out here so he could use me to realize how in love with her he is. I heard they're running away to elope. I hope they fucking die. Now for the next story. Story 2. My sister, who is 19, is marrying her older teacher, who is 36. My younger sister is getting married to her 36-year-old high school teacher in a few days and everyone seems okay with it. She graduated a year ago and they told us they were dating, almost immediately after the graduation. I was shocked and angry, but everyone around me was happy and supportive of them. The teacher divorced his wife 2 years ago and started paying attention to my sister. He spoke to her after class regularly and paid special attention to her studies. I thought this was weird and talked to my sister about this, but she told me he was helping her because she was the best student of her class, which she was. A few months ago, only a few months into dating, they announced that they were engaged. I tried talking to my parents about their age difference and stuff, but they didn't want to hear it. I talked to my sister and she told me she is happy and that she loves him. We live in a small town with a tight-knit community and everyone else is supporting their marriage. I'm feeling useless right now and I am angry at myself. I was unable to protect my sister. I feel like I failed my duties as an older sibling. I hate everyone around me. How do they not see what's going on here? Update 1. My sister, who is 19, is marrying her older teacher, who is 36. The marriage happened. I contemplated not going to the ceremony, but I didn't want to hurt my little sister, so I went reluctantly. My blood was boiling throughout the whole thing. Everyone who came to the ceremony congratulated them. I couldn't even look the teacher in the face because I was so angry at him. I hated the whole thing. I'm leaving this town tomorrow. I had some interviews lined up and got selected in one. It's in a city and I'm moving tomorrow. I can't stand these people. My parents think that getting married to a good guy with a stable job is the best thing that could have happened too. My sister and my relatives agreed. He groomed her. Why doesn't anyone else see that? I wanted to scream at everyone. When I told my sis I was leaving, she cried. I reassured her and told her that I wasn't angry at her. I made it clear to her that she could contact me anytime under any circumstances and that I'd be there for her. I bought her a phone and told her that I'd talk to her regularly. I tried to not antagonize anyone because I want them to reach out to me if anything happens. It was very hard to do. I came very close to fighting several people. My sister was a star student. I always thought that she would go to a big college and become someone significant. But now, she's going to be a housewife. That thought is destroying me. I wasn't harsh on her because I'm hoping that she wakes up soon and I want to be there for her when that happens. I want to support her and see her full potential and I'm wishing it happens soon. Edit. I've told her not to have children until she's sure. She has a contraceptive implant and I told her not to get it removed for at least a couple of years. I told her to tell me if anyone ever pressured her to have it removed. I really hope she follows my advice. Edit. I'm just checking the comments and the amount of people defending the teacher is insane. People like you are the problem. She was groomed since she was 16. Why can't you people see that? I wouldn't have any problem with her choices if she wasn't coerced into them. Him being an older man isn't my issue here. Him being her teacher is. Also, I don't think that being a housewife is bad. What I don't like is that the choice of something more is being taken away from my sister. As for the phone thing, My parents did not allow my sister to own a phone. She had to use the landline if she wanted to talk to people. That's why I bought her a phone. Update 2. My sister, who is 19, is marrying her older teacher, who is 36. I wanted to share an update on my sister's situation since it's been a year and the situation has changed significantly in a positive way. Since the marriage a year ago, I've made it a point to talk to my sister regularly on the phone that I gave her. A few weeks in, her husband started pushing her to be in a traditional wife role, which created a wedge between her and her friends. But I made sure to keep in touch and to visit her once every month. Her husband did not like that, but he tolerated it to keep up appearances. To deal with my frustrations, I joined a gym and started working out. Luckily, my boss at my job turned out to be a great lady who listened to me and gave me a lot of support and advice. She told me I could call her when I needed help, and became my mentor and an older sister I could lean on, while also paying me well. Some months into the marriage, her husband managed to domesticate her completely. She stopped going out almost entirely and had very little independence, and he tried to start separating my sister from me. However, because I kept a good and consistent relationship with her, he wasn't able to do it. A couple of months ago, he started hinting to my sister about wanting kids, but I kept repeating to my sister that she should not have children until a few years into marriage. Last month, he told her directly that he wanted children and my sister told him that she wanted to wait. He started pressuring her to get her contraceptive implant removed. So last week, I went back home to talk to him. I always try to be polite to him whenever I visit their home so that he doesn't have any ammo to try to separate us. During conversation, I brought up that he was pressuring my sister to get her contraceptive implant removed. It escalated into an argument with him saying that he had a right to have children with his wife. When I didn't back down, he got frustrated and took a swing at me, which didn't connect properly. I didn't hesitate in punching him back in his face. He fell backwards and started howling in pain. I wanted to do that since this whole ordeal started and it was satisfying. I think him hitting me was my sister's wake-up call. He called the cops and told them that I assaulted him. Fortunately, I make sure to record everything whenever I visit their home. I use my Apple Watch for this and it's a great tool for stealthy audio recording. I called my boss and told her about what happened, and she promised to send a lawyer just in case. When the cops arrived, my sister took my side, which surprised her husband. With me being a woman, and with the recording, the cops also took my side. The lawyer arrived after that, and I told her husband that I was taking my sister with me. He tried to protest, but the lawyer warned him that I would press charges if he stopped my sister from leaving. He reluctantly let her go, and she has been staying with me for the last week. My parents were furious when they found out that my sister left her husband. They did not seem to care that he hit me, probably because I stopped talking to them. I am still talking to my sister about what she wants to do, and will probably start divorce proceedings in a few days. Her husband and my parents have been trying to call and get her to come back, but I've made sure that she doesn't talk to them without me present. Throughout the whole thing, my boss has been super helpful and has been giving my sister advice about what she could do next. I know that I'm super lucky that my sister managed to wake up so soon and that I've had support from people like my boss. Throughout the whole of last year, I was worried about how my sister was going to end up, but I am elated now.